And good morning, it's Mike Ferry. Welcome to Mike Ferry TV, the week of November 20th, which if you're in the U.S., it is our Thanksgiving week. We hope that you're at least participating on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday in your wonderful career of real estate and hopefully taking a few days off Thursday, Friday, and maybe the weekend. So let's begin. I want to share something with you. I had a very lengthy discussion this past week. I was in Seattle Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday doing a 3-day complete listing workshop for 200 plus really great salespeople. It was a very, very active, very productive audience of people. We had about 60 of the 200 of our coaching clients, and then we had about 140 people that had been to our seminars for many, many years and were really active in the business. And we had a lot of interesting discussions, and I want to share one of those discussions with you today. But one of the things that came up, and it came up twice, where people would walk up at the break and they would say to me, "We really like, Mike, your approach to selling real estate," to which I would say, "Thank you. However, your approach is very strong," to which I would say, "Thank you." They would say, "Can you tone it down a little bit?" And one of them actually used the words, "Can you tone it down just a little bit?" And I said, "Well, fine. Define for me what you mean by tone it down." And this person, it was a man, probably 35 to 40, said, "Well, it's kind of hardcore." And I said, "Well, let me ask you a question. Is your business plan hardcore?" He said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, is your business plan for the balance of this year or for next year, is it defined? Is it set in stone? Is it something you absolutely have to accomplish?" He said, "Well, of course." I said, "Well, if you take a soft core approach to a hardcore plan, what kind of success will you have? Will you accomplish 50% of your plan for next year? 70%? I said, "Well, let me take a different approach. What percentage of the goal you set for this year have you accomplished?" He goes, "Well, my goal was to do 35 transactions. And how many have you done year to date?" He said, "I've only done 19. I said, "So you're running less, 60% of your goal?" He goes, "Yes." And I said, "Okay, how badly did you want to get 35 to 38? "Well, I really thought I could do it." I said, "What do you think went wrong?" And I want each of you to think about that as we look at the last 6 weeks of 2017. Most of you had a plan, whether you started last year, the year before, or been in the business 10 years. Most of you had a plan for 2017 as to what you want to accomplish. How close have you come? And if you've come close, congratulations, of course. If you've surpassed your plan, really big congratulations, high five. But the majority of people we talk to have not accomplished the plan they've set. And the question is why? And I believe the answer is because we take a very soft approach to a very strong and difficult business. As you've heard me say time and time again for years, selling real estate is not a complicated business. In essence, it's very simple. It's just not easy because the majority of the people we have in this industry are not salespeople by trade. We come from all different areas of life. We come from all different businesses in life, and we come into a business that is a hardcore direct sales business. And anybody that tells you it's not, just believe me, they're lying to you. This is a hardcore direct sales business. Now, yes, showing property to a buyer is substantially less sales-oriented than listing a property for sale. But it's a hardcore direct sales business because those that are listing properties, 1, 2, 3, 5, 10, 15 listings a month, which we have thousands of customers that do this, understand that there's a lot of good competitors in that arena that they're competing against, and they have to be really good, really sharp, very strong in their sales approach. It's hardcore selling. Well, this young man said, "Could you lighten up a little bit?" And I kind of smiled and said, "Well, I'm not going to lighten up, okay? For 42 years, I have been preaching the gospel of Mike Ferry, if there's such a thing, and I don't mean that egotistically. Watch. You have to manage your time, and you have to be strict. You have to prospect. You have to get leads of people that want to buy and sell. They're not calling you, okay? Yes, you're buying them off the internet, but they're not calling you either. Okay? And most of those you're buying are buyers. Got to prospect. You got to do strong lead follow-up, which we're going to come back to. You have to be very effective in your pre-qualifying to make sure that party you're talking to has the ability and the motivation to sign a contract if you make a presentation, buyer or seller. You have to be strong in your presentation because they're looking for somebody that knows how to do the job, whether it be a buyer or seller. You have to handle objections that come up. You have to have the courage to close the sale, to ask them to sign. You, of course, then have to negotiate between that buyer and seller. You have to be efficient in the administration of the transactions you do, and then you have to start over again every day. So one of the people said to me last Wednesday, why don't we start over every day? Mike, you always say that we have to start over every day at zero. Why don't we start at zero? And I said something which I probably haven't discussed much in the past. I want to share with you today. The challenge is we celebrate our successes for hours, days, and weeks instead of understanding that you're not celebrating a success, you're following your plan. You have a goal to do 5, 10, 20, 30, 50 deals. You do one. All you're doing is achieving the goal you've set. It's not a point of celebration. It's a point of saying, okay, my goal was 30. I've done 4 so far. And it's now middle of February. I got to keep at it. I got to go to work. So I'm not going to change my approach because some of you want to soften the message. Go to our competitors. There must be 500 or 600 coaching companies now in the US and Canada. There's a new one popping up every day. Go to one of the 3,000 or 4,000 speakers. The only goal they have is to get you to like them. Now, I had a lady walk up to me and she said to me on Thursday, she goes, you know, I have to tell you quite honestly, I'm not real comfortable with you. I said, well, define that. Well, quite honestly, I have to say to you, and I'm not trying to make you mad, but I really don't care for you. I said, well, then we're even. She goes, well, what do you mean we're even? I said, well, I don't care for you. And she said, well, why wouldn't you care for me? I said, why would I? You don't care for me. All we're doing is evening out the playing field. So are you upset with me? Are you upset with the message that I'm delivering? Or are you upset with your inability to take the message and make it work? She said, I'm upset with that kind of thinking. I said, well, of course you are. You're not a salesperson. You're a real estate agent. And there's a big difference between being a salesperson and a real estate agent. A salesperson could sell lighting, microphones, they could sell anything, of which real estate is one of the things they could sell. Real estate agents drive people around and hope somebody buys from them. So you have to define what your goal, what your objective is. Yes, I know that I have been too strong, and I am not going to stop there. We're just starting next month, our 30th year of coaching real estate salespeople. Now, I'm not saying this to brag, but we were the ones that founded real estate coaching as an industry inside this industry. I don't care what anybody says to you. If they tell you they founded real estate coaching, they're not telling the truth, because we founded it virtually 30 years ago, doing a program in San Francisco, California is where I started doing the coaching. And we've been very, very fortunate to be very successful with 50% of the people that we coach. Well, why only 50%? Half the people never do what we say. They don't accept it. They don't believe in it. They can't buy into the fact that we have to be a salesperson. So I did some fun stats, okay? We are averaging between 13 and 15,000 people per week watching Mike Ferry TV. When we started doing this 13, 14 years ago, there was virtually only a few hundred people a week. This year, we've had over 600,000 people view Mike Ferry TV. 600,000, which is almost 50% of the entire industry, okay? There's a reason we're the leaders in this industry in personal production for you, okay, listing, sales, and income. There's a reason we're the leader. And of course, the leader in profitability for you as a broker, manager, or an agent, because we're going to keep repeating the message until you get the message. So the big aha this week in Seattle, from our coaching clients, we had 201 people register, 56 were coaching clients, which means we had about 150 people that had been to many seminars in the past, okay, and we had probably 30 people first time at a Mike Ferry event. And it was interesting because the area that we focused on, not I didn't focus on it, they chose to, was the area of lead follow-up. So I made a statement to them, and I want you to think about this statement. I said, why do we keep leads for long periods of time that have already said to you they don't have any real desire at this time to buy a house or to list their home for sale? Why do we keep them? We incubate them, we touch them. We have a 18-point drip lead campaign follow-up system. Why do we keep doing that? And they all kind of looked at me and I said, well, let's talk about it. So we had a very interesting discussion. So here's what I came up with to them. I want to share with you today. We're going to be weak, W-E-A-K, in our lead follow-up for one of many, many reasons. But I identified the three main reasons we're weak in lead follow-up is A, we're buying leads off the internet, which we know are lousy leads. I mean, you know it, I know it, they know it that are selling them to you, okay? You're not getting high quality leads. So when you buy poor quality leads, you have to incubate them hoping that you're going to send, contact, email, deliver something that is going to trigger at some point in their mind in the future that they may want to buy or sell real estate, and hopefully you would be the contact for that. Second reason we're so lousy at lead follow-up, we don't prospect. See, all the agents that we work with that are doing, well, now watch this. I do a little research every year in November on our coaching clients, okay? So everybody wants to know, well, how many coaching clients do you have? I mean, I get asked this question all the time because everybody wants to tell me that their coaching service is bigger than mine. You have to understand, I don't care if any of our competitors have more coaching clients than I have because I'm not competing with my competitors. They're competing with me. I'm competing with the business plans we have. We had a goal to have 2,500 people in coaching this year, and we have 2,500 people in coaching. 432 of our coaching clients, now listen carefully, are going to close this year averaging 71.5 transactions. That means they're going to do, listen, 30,000 transactions. 30,000 listings sold, buyer controlled sales. The reason they can do that is they're committed to building production, building inventory, and building income and profitability. Are you committed to building your production for 2018? Are you committed to learning how to list property in 2018? Are you committed to increasing your income in 2018? And are you committed to, listen carefully, this is the hard one, increasing your profitability? Because if you are, you can't buy leads off the internet if you want to become profitable. So you have to prospect. And as you know, we've told you we have 61 methods of prospecting, of which 20 get you a high return, 41 do not. So what do most of us do? We do the 41 that do not. Why do we not do strong lead follow-up? They're buying leads off the internet. We don't do any prospecting. There's a lack of motivation on the agent's part to succeed. I want to do, Mike, 7, 8 deals a year. I talked to a great client, okay, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. His average commission is $15,000. He does 15 deals a year. That's a lot of money, okay? 15 times 15, he makes a lot of money. But he finally walked up Thursday morning after the break and he said, darn it, Mike, I'm tired of being mediocre. You're making a lot of money, you're not mediocre. He said, Mike, I take 2 or 3 months off every year and don't do anything, celebrating my success. 2018, I am going to go out and really do something with my business. Well, the motivation has changed, so therefore he'll be stronger in his lead follow-up. And then, of course, the fourth category of people that do not be aggressive in lead follow-up are the low producers. Well, I don't know if all these stats that I keep being given are true, but if it's true, there's 1.3 million agents in the U.S., and 50% or more have done 0 listings and sales this year. There's a lot of low producers in the real estate industry. Well, a low producer doing 1, 2, 3, 5 transactions a year, they're going to get a lead and they're going to groom it, they're going to hold on to it, they're going to nurture it, they're going to pray they buy and sell someday, they're going to sit on their leads hoping those leads hatch other leads. Folks, guess what? Either the lead wants to buy or sell or they don't. But see, if you're a low producer, if you lack motivation, if you don't prospect or you're buying leads, you have that mentality that eventually these people will buy or sell. And you know what? They probably will. But they may not buy and sell till you're long out of the business or you've given up on your dreams and goals and you've decided you can never be productive. 13 to 15,000 people a week view Mike Ferry TV. 600,000 have done that this year. My IT department says virtually millions and millions and millions of people have watched this since we started. Isn't that interesting? And yet only a handful succeed at a high level. At some point, you have to quit celebrating what you've done, create a concrete plan for 2018, hire the Mike Ferry organization to help you do it. Let's get together and make it happen. And you can start that by calling the office this week or next week, because I'm going to run this exact same show again next week. Why? Because it's only a 3-day week for most people. And I'm going to ask you to call the office and go to our production retreat in San Diego in December. The room holds 2,100 people. We've already sold 1,400 tickets. We're not going to be able to sell many more tickets. If you want to get your production where you want it to be, and you're willing to put up with the strength that I suggest you have, we're going to have some fun in 2018. In either case, for all my Canadian friends, have a great week listing and selling real estate. For my United States friends, have a great Thanksgiving holiday if you celebrate. Work hard Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Enjoy the 4 days off, and I'll talk to you next week. Thanks for today.